Good morning, everybody. Hope your week is off to a good start, that you had a great weekend. And appreciate you starting with me this week as we continue to look at the book of Proverbs. And we'll be in chapter 9 this morning, beginning in verse 3, where Solomon is going to, he's contrasting um, the wise man versus the foolish man. And we've talked a lot up to this point about how this first section of Proverbs has emphasized the fact that it's our own choice. And so here he's giving us the results of that choice. And in this section is going to share some of the reasons or some of the positive outcomes of living an honest and upright life following the wisdom of God. And so in verse 3, he says, "The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them." And so there you see, again, the contrast that he is using in this section. He tells us the result of the upright life, and he tells us the result of a transgressor or one who refuses the wisdom of God, the result that they end up with. And he, again, is obviously lifting up to his son that he should choose to live a godly life, to be faithful to the commands of God, as opposed to these that he calls transgressors, those who violate the Word of God. And he calls it here integrity. And that's a word we are familiar with. Again, it's an important word that he says that when we're guided by that when we allow integrity to guide us, that we're guided by that integrity. When we fail to do that, we are not obviously a good witness for Jesus Christ. And again, those who ultimately reject that, he says their perverseness will destroy them. Man with integrity guides his life, bases his life on the principles of God. So many today in our world, they govern their life, they make their decisions based on their feelings. You hear people, even the old commercial, if it feels good, do it. So many people govern their lives by feelings. Well, it just felt right. Or the other one is what makes us happy. Big one in our society is which one makes us the most money. What's everybody else doing? If you've ever had children, you know that's a popular way for people to make decisions. But an upright man, he says, is guided by his integrity. And they make their decisions, they chart their life, they lay their path based on what God says is the correct thing to do, even if it's not popular, even if it doesn't make them money, even if it hurts. Sometimes doing the right thing, sometimes telling the truth can be painful. Sometimes telling the truth can cause us trouble, cause us harm even. But what Solomon and what the Word of God is teaching us here is that the harm caused by transgressors, by transgressing the law and the wisdom of God, is even greater. Verse 4, he says, "Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death." Again, that the righteous have put their confidence not in things of this world. When we stand before God, to put it simply, this verse is saying when we stand before God, how much money we have isn't going to matter. But whether we got that money, whether we gained what we have honestly or dishonestly, will be the issue. How we got whatever we have, but money won't do us any good. The prophet, he says, riches don't do you any good. He says, but righteousness will protect us. The righteousness of the perfect shall direct his way, but the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness. Eventually, he says, wickedness, a man's wickedness will be his own downfall. It will eventually destroy him, his own wickedness. He says the wickedness basically fall into their own trap. They fall into the traps that they have made for themselves. The righteousness of the upright shall deliver them, but transgressors shall be taken in their own naughtiness. Another contrast between the two, that the righteous travel a better road. They have a better life because, again, the lack of guilt, the lack of fear, that they can, live their life knowing that they are living a life according to the Word of God and not have to wonder and worry about the consequences of their decisions. The righteousness of the upright shall deliver them, but transgressors shall be taken in their own naughtiness. When a wicked man dieth, his expectation shall perish, and the hope of unjust men perish. Wickedness is a trap. And when the wicked man dies, then he has no more hope. The wicked depend on their deception, on their own cunningness, their own tricks, those kind of things. He says, but when these men die, he says there is no hope, and the righteous is delivered out of trouble, and the wicked cometh in his stead. The righteous, he says, are delivered. They are rescued from the trouble, and that the wicked suffer the consequences of their decisions. And I've covered this kind of fast. I hope maybe you'll take some time to go back and read over it and think through these comparisons that Solomon makes between the wicked man and the righteous man. Again, the wicked man's going to be destroyed, it says, by their own doings, by their own activities, and there's no hope for them. They're not going to be able to stand before God and make a deal, pay for it with their money. Many times in life, the wicked man, he lives a hard road. Sometimes we don't see it and we don't think so. But ultimately their own sin traps them. And they will eventually suffer the reward or the consequences of their actions. And on the contrast, on the other side, we see the righteous man who has integrity, who is guided through his life by that integrity, who is spared the judgment of God, travels a life a road that is more secure, and again has a promise of a great future, great eternity with God. And so he's saying to his young son, which will you choose? Why in the world? Why in the world would you not choose to live according to the principles of God. Why in the world, son, would you go in any other direction? And that's a question for us still today. As we go about our life, as we start a new week, we go through this week, we'll be faced with opportunities and obstacles. Why in the world would we choose any way other than the righteousness and the wisdom of God instead of the ways of this world? There may be a way that might make you more money. There may be a way that might make you more popular, but ultimately, the consequences of choosing that road are great. And so, son, why would you choose any other way than the righteous path of God? And that question lays before us each and every day. Why in the world would we choose any other way than living according to the wisdom of God? Have a good day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.